now amuse me because it reminds me of how old I am. And all the things that I used to say about people who are very senior to me, 22 decades of experience, and they said it, and I was thinking, me, really? So, like, one of those shocking things that we are both now at an age when,
Man, even
yeah,
worse.
people are, they say, I wasn't even born when
I
you took
know.
that training. I'm just like, wow, I'm so shocked. So it's lovely to be here first in Delhi, and to know that we can, that this conversation that has been with people who have done Montessori work in Delhi over the years, for us to carry this conversation to this point where we are today, it has been an amazing, as it's like serendipity.
Completely.
The stars have lined up, and it's sort of begun to happen. So we're very, very happy to be here. And to I think that before we talk about training and training courses, I'd like to talk to you a little bit in a, give you a little bit of a wider perspective of what it means to become a person who can live with a child. So that's where I think I'd like to start. Maria Montessori's early experience in science was really as a medical doctor. She was not really in education in her career, but it just happened that there was a construction site in which there were construction workers, and the children of these workers were gathered into what would today, I guess, be called childcare. Children under the age of 6 in Europe were not considered educable. You only educated them after the age of 6. To this day, we call the under sixes preschool. So the children were not. There were no expectations. There was no teacher. It was just a gathering of children and adults into a situation in which, like when the apple fell, a certain discovery was made in a serendipitous moment. In that way, this idea that the child has great powers and is hidden from adult view, and therefore Montessori believed that she had discovered the secret of childhood, discovered the child, who he really is, and what the child's inner natural potential is. And that's what she believed. And from that day to this, Montessori has struggled with this idea that uh, the child comes into the world and lives in a world with adults who don't fully understand him. Yes, and we think that we need to educate them. We think that we need to get them through exams. We think that we need to get them ready for a competitive world. We think that we need to um, help them to become adults. But in some ways, if you look at nature, nature is very wise. I always talk about this documentary that I saw of crocodile hatchlings. The eggs hatch, and the baby crocodiles run down to the river, and then they go away, and the mother goes on her way, right? So these creatures, they know how to fend for themselves, they look after themselves, they manage on their own. But our children, they are born little bit on their back, unable to turn over. Forget about everything else. They cannot turn over. And within these periods of time, they show us what they are capable of. That the power, the potential, the vigor, and the urge of life to push towards that which they need, and then to grow into adult human beings. That is nature, and nature ensures that this happens. So in a way, Montessori saw all adults as educators, because her early experience was that adults didn't understand children, and it's not teachers who were required, but it was all adults who came into contact with children, whether they were parents, whether they were security guards, whether they were van drivers, whether they are shopkeepers, whether they are people who come close to the lives of a child. If the child lived in a world in which his needs were understood, then any child can have a good life. If the children, on the other hand, meet with uh, obstacles to development, then their ability to develop is compromised. right? It's compromised because they are surrounded by people who don't understand them. So to prepare an adult, yes, a loving adult, yes, all the people in the child's life are loving adults, because the baby, if there was a baby here now, the baby was crying, none of us could really focus on anything that was being said except this baby and its cry, because babies have that power to attract our love, our they take it whether you want to give it or not. When you see a baby, you smile and you know that you want the best for that baby. The babies have that power, they take your love from you. So this creature who is so powerful and who draws a magnet of love, if you like, is a creature whom we need to understand. And from that very love, yes, the obstacles are created because we don't understand them. So if you think about um, something as simple, I mean, my favorite example is always this staircase which is in the waiting room of my doctor's clinic. And whenever I'm there, there are usually some mothers with babies, and the babies who are 1.5 2, they always go to the staircase and begin to climb. And the first thing that we do to those babies is to say, no, don't go up the staircase. And the messaging is, you will fall, you will hurt yourself, you are making trouble, you are stubborn, you are not understanding how to behave in this situation, you are a problem, right? So if we understand that the baby is born to move, yes, that if the children can walk, they carry things. That is what nature dictates. If they can actually walk and they are still unsteady, they immediately pick up something heavy to carry, and usually that thing starts to tilt and the bucket of water begins to thing. And the urge within the child is to move and conquer movement. So when we don't understand that, right, then what is the offering of the adult environment around them? It is to protect. And this protection, which is required, because without our protection the baby will die. Yes, human babies depend on adults for survival. They need us to protect them. But if we protect them from their natural developmental needs and we put an obstacle through our love, then the child cannot thrive in the world. He becomes at war with the adults who love him. So this loving adult, these loving people who are in the child's world, if they don't understand the child, they don't understand the need for movement, they don't understand the need for language, they don't understand the needs that he has for independence. If we don't understand that, then the environment that is created for the child is created full of obstacles. She says that babies live in a giant world. In whose home can a baby go, a 1.5 2 year old go and get a glass of water if he wants? Yes. Can the baby take out the clothes that he wants to wear? Can the child go into the bathroom and brush his teeth? Can he look at his face in the mirror? Does he have a toothbrush? Can he take it? Is he allowed to touch the toothpaste? We are willing to buy them Lego. A toothpaste and toothbrush cost so much by comparison, but we are not willing to give them. Toothpaste and toothbrush is off. So naughty, so stubborn, so incapable. Yes, he cannot look at his face in the mirror. Basically, that household has nothing. Where is the shampoo? Out of sight. Why don't we have pump soap? Why don't we give it to him? Have you ever given a child pump soap?
Waste.
He will waste it. He will just pump it away and he will waste it. He is incapable of understanding.
Okay.
Sorry. So he is incapable of understanding what is required. He is not capable of actually taking a little soap. He needs to destroy our family, and therefore we will make our environment child safe. Right? So we will, in other words, take all our precious things from the newspaper. We won't give the child. Slippers, if he goes towards the slippers, we say no. If he touches the broom, definitely not. Mop, No. So anything in our world, we protect this child from the things in which, among which he is born. So this child who grows with these obstacles, but most of them, like we did when we were young, and the children now, they fight. They fight their way to developing, towards developing. But what if we understood them? What if the environment was created for movement? What if there were things were accessible? What if all the wash basins were at his height? What if he can look at his face in the mirror? What if I can use the pump soap and learn over time how much pressure to put to take a little? What if I can understand how to squeeze the toothpaste out of the toothbrush? When will I be ready? When I'm a teenager, you'll give me the toothbrush. When will I be ready to know how much food I can serve on my plate? Yeah. So then every single forceful action which happens out of love, yes, the dal and the rice and the spoon and the chase, right? The chasing around the house, the forcing of the food into the mouth. All these acts of adult violence against the child, because we are big, because we are powerful. Yes, it is only, there is no other reason why we can catch a child and force food into his mouth. The only reason we can do it is because we are bigger and strong. It's not possible. Yeah, hold, catch the hands. He's so naughty. I'm holding his hands before I feed him. Tie him into the chair. Yes, tie him into the car seat. Tie them into the pram. How can a child get up and fall out of a pram? I've never even understood why you can't let the child get in and get out of that pram on his own. Anyway, if you go to any place where babies are given some freedom, they will put the things in the pram and they will push the pram. They like pushing the pram, but we just want to tie them. Yes, my neighbor, when the baby was small, she used to say, "We are going for a walk," and he used to be tied in, and I used to say, "Who's we?" The poor child was already tied. You know, so the idea that the that this form of understanding and is not there when the child is young, and then the child goes to school. In school, you think the institution is created for the children. It is created to help the children to live a good life. Yes, that's the promise of any school. But what are the schools doing? The schools also don't understand the children. You think that you are here to study, focus your attention, because the attention span is so limited, only 40 minutes, right? And then 40 minutes of studies, academic learning. Yes, the word that is constantly thrown at Montessori teachers, academics will be good or not? If he goes to the school, will he be academically, will he get it or not? So this academic learning versus physical education, which is screaming, running around, getting red in the face, and then you have to come in and control your whole body, and then sit here in a maths class and pay attention. But the reality is, you can trap their bodies in this classroom in front of this blackboard. Can you capture their mind? You really can't. And even in the most modern of schools now, people are now talking about the fact that there are no more blackboards, there's more child centered education. You can hear all the buzzwords of education changing, and but still we are looking at testing, to test for the test. You don't even have just quarterly, half yearly, and final exams anymore, as some of us did in my childhood, definitely. But now you test for the quarterly exam, then you are prepared in class tests for these other tests. So the testing is just the only way of understanding. So you help the child to take the test by writing a test. That for me makes so little sense, because if you think of a tennis player who's playing, peak of his game, he won't play a 10 5 set tennis match to prepare himself for a test, for a match. No, you will, what will he do? Strengthening exercises, calf muscles, something. There will be an understanding that you have to help develop the whole body, and with the tennis player you have to develop his mind. Without the mind, all of them will tell you, match point, what is the most crucial thing? Not the stroke, it's the mind, it's the concentration, it's the, they'll say focus. All of them will tell you that, Tendulkar on 99 was, the ball used to appear to him as big as a, and he could tune out 20,000 people in the stands. So if you think about what is sport and what really it takes to be a sportsman or what it takes to be a academic achiever, it's attention, it's the possibility to sit. I can't sit, how can I study? I can't sit for 10 minutes. I can't, give my attention to you without interrupting you for 15 minutes. Then how can I get anything? I can't read a page. I don't have the patience. They told me now you can have only recently, you can only make 2-minute films because nobody will watch anything longer than 2 minutes. In 2 minutes, I mean, it's unbelievable. You can have got to the
30 seconds, it's got
30
shorter.
shorter than 2 minutes. So now no one will watch 2 minutes also. So now if we have this kind of approach to attention, to human understanding, to reasoning, to the things that we need to build our world, then for our children, what is the help they need? The help is that they need people who understand how the human body develops, how the human mind develops, and how to support this process by helping the children to become independent and helping the children to become um, um, ready to face an activity of any kind, to begin it, to take it through its middle, and to bring it to a good conclusion, to a good ending. So, to take something through with perseverance, this is really what the child needs. So, then what happens? What happens to the adults who are in the child's world? What is the gift that we need to give them, which we cannot give them? It's the gift of time. We have no time. Yes, we live in a time, I always say, no, the words are itself now telling you what our problems are. We have to jump in the shower. We have to, run to the school. We have to, when you talk about the shops, you don't even, you think it's too long
Shop
to
online.
bend down on the phone and order it. That also, they say it takes time, right? So everything is about shortening the amount of time that we have so that we can do multiple things together. So in this kind of world, what we really need to understand with this young child is that we ourselves as adults need to go on a spiritual journey. If we cannot search inside ourselves and find what who we are, to understand what we need for the child, unless we go inward, unless we reflect, unless we are able to focus our attention for the amount of time that it takes to understand that something different is called for now for raising children, then can we really build an environment in which the child can grow to his optimum potential? We will continue to think of children as a container in which we can fill subjects, right? But as a dear friend of ours who runs a wonderful organization called Vignan Ashram, he said that when the children enter the adult world, they are not met by subjects, they only face problems. These problems require multiple subjects to solve. Yes, if there is a lake with plastic rubbish in it and it's contaminating your groundwater near your house, then that problem cannot be solved only by chemistry. It cannot be solved only by physics. It cannot be solved only by literature. You cannot be solved only with one subject. You need many different things to come together to solve problems. So if we think about academic learning as it is really meant, which is to build the strength of the human individual, then we ourselves have to shift and change. And this Montessori course that we run now as a year long training, it's a 24-month training, is what Montessori believed was required for adults to reflect on what is required for a child to have a good life. If we need to become adults who can support children, who can understand children, then we can give them a good life. The good life is detached. So the course itself is a spiritual journey because you're not attached to what the child can be. You're not attached and you don't have preconceived ideas of what the child should or should not do. You do not value the child only for his um, I'll use the same word that everybody is using, academic achievement, right? The great worry that all of us have. But we worry about kindness. We worry about the child being able to put aside what he is doing to go running to help somebody else. We look for a child who can look around him in society and say what is required and offer it. Because in society, if you get into a train, there are, we all have the same ticket, right? But there's one person pregnant, there's somebody with a stick, there is somebody who's much older, there's somebody who doesn't have a seat. So then what are your rights? And who is a good human being in that social situation? It's a person who can look for the solution for the good of everybody, who can give up what is my right in order to serve somebody. So a Montessori environment is calibrated on sacrifice. It is calibrated with values. It is calibrated on kindness. It is calibrated on studying. Oh, you're younger and you're struggling with this. Let me put this aside and I will help you. And by that help, not only the receiver gains, but the giver also gains. Right? So, in this kind of environment to create, if we must create that environment for young children, then who should we be? And for many of us who've done the training, so I think there are people here who have taken AMI training. This training is a kind of tapasya. It is a kind of 12-month uh, rigorous scientific approach to pedagogy and education, and an understanding of the developmental needs of the child, both physical and mental, the movement and how it develops, independence and what the advantages of independence are. So you're looking at psychological and physical growth, but it's also an inward spiritual journey, an inward journey that allows us to reflect on who we should be in order to be worthy of living with the child, worthy of being a parent, worthy of being a teacher, worthy of being a person who comes into close contact with children. Are we worthy? So it is an inward study, and that inward study, which is mixed with a lot of rigor, lot of uh, you know work that we do in an immersive way. Montessori course doesn't dictate theory; it turns theory into practice. So we have a lecture on why it is good to wait, to build the will of the child in the environment. There's only one of everything. So when somebody else is working with it, I have to wait or make another choice. So as teachers, training teachers in supervised practice, what we tell them is that when the material is being used by somebody else, we have to wait. And as adults, it is very hard, and it's part of our training. Yes, it's very we as trainers, we get quite good at it. Yes, we watch our students and we see that eye contact is being made to say, no, don't put that away, I'm going to take it after you. Yes, tell me when you put it away, I need it next, I'm queuing up to get it. Yes, all of us have been through these processes of realizing that the will that children have, we don't have. We cannot wait, we cannot build our patience, we cannot. So to actually reflect inward, to be able to yes, it would be nice if you brought everything in on time. We try, but we can't. Right? It would be nice if we're all in the morning on time for class. Yes, anybody who, I always tell students that anybody who has to argue if you're late or not, you're already late. Right? So it doesn't mean that if I'm arguing about whether it's 8:44 or 45, then we're already late. Right? So it is to be calm, and in it's 8:30 for 8:45 is what we have to target if we want to be worthy of the child. It's the discipline that is there and the ability to take responsibility. So these qualities, I had a young student who said to me, I changed after I did the course. And she said, I said, yeah. And so she said, yeah. When I was before the course, I have a bike, and I used to take the bike right up to my gate, and I used to take the gate off, and I used to push the gate with my bike's wheel, and then I just used to drive away. But now I go out and I park the bike and I come back and I lock the gate and then I get on the bike and then I go. So I've completely changed after the course, Rupu. So in a way I felt, that moment of self reflection, self realization that she had, for me that's the secret of the transformative process that this course brings. Any of us who've done the course, every time we go to a restaurant, we obsessively tuck the chairs back under the table so that it won't get in the way of others. The children in who go to the doctor that I was telling you about, the doctor lives is very close to the school where I used to be. So the doctor used to say, these children are quite strange. They come, they fold all the newspapers and magazines and they arrange them nicely on the all the little sick children, right? All fold up the magazines and put the thing back under the thing so that everything is neat for the next person to come along. So there is something quite different about the children and therefore the teachers who get this training. So the idea of self transformation is on one level spiritual, something you can't touch, something that's ephemeral, something which is very hard to explain. But we also feel that working with children, we also have the ability to transform in very simple and practical things. Many of us learn to clean up and tidy up our desktop without leaving 10,000 strange and funny documents on it without binning anything and then getting lost in the various versions that we have. We get quite good at organizing things in folders. We get so whether it, an orderly environment in the outer world can translate into in many ways, just like you start organizing your handbag, yeah, with what needs to be where, not instead of having a dump of a large bag. In the same way you begin to become very aware of how things need to be arranged in the environment around us to make life a bit better for others. So this course is a course which is about children, but it's also about the children whom we once were. We were once children, and it's about us, and it's about the changes that we can bring about in the world. So the to get to great practicalities, the course is something that we have been in discussion. The training in India was begun in 1939 by Maria Montessori in Chennai. She came here at the invitation of the Theosophical Society, and then the war broke out. So she lived here for about 5 years in Chennai and in Kodaikanal. She also was in Sri Lanka for a while. And during the imprisonment, because she was a Italian on British soil at that time, was she continued to train teachers. But the interesting thing is that after she left India, yes, by 1949, there were no Montessori's had left India forever. There was Mr. Houston who ran courses. There were courses which were moving. So he had them in Calcutta, in Delhi, and these teachers were trained and they ran these courses. And Mr. Houston's student actually started Magic Years, where these ladies are from. Shirley Auntie trained when she was so young, young girl. And she, the people who trained under these people, stalwarts of the past, they became warriors for children. They began to speak for children, to explain the children to adult humanity. And so Mr. Houston was in Delhi, I think, in 1959. So that is one of the realities of this part of the world, that after that he went away to Hyderabad, and then I think he passed away in 1970, and then Mr. Swami never came back north. He was in Hyderabad and Bangalore, and then the course never came back up to the north. So there was always this push that we needed to start a course in Delhi, but it never has happened. And though we've had many conversations with many people over time, it never really happened. And I feel that, somehow, as I was saying to Nishant, that it is a amazing moment that we are in history. This is Noida. This is a very, very small school. It is a little drop of a Montessori environment in a very large, huge area. And in such a small place, for us to have had the sort of synergy by which we have talked about a course, and it has happened, and we were able to make the shift from, we cancelled our Chennai course so that we could do this. And I think that this friendship and this synergy which has made this possible, it's running a course is not an easy thing. And so to have, to be at this point where we could offer a summer course here, a summer course that will serve working teachers, a summer course that will serve families. I think it's an amazing moment that we are at, and we are so happy to be able to announce that here today, that we will start on the 18th of May, and will actually run over 3 summers. And I'll be very happy to take questions from all of you about the training. But my request before I hand over to questions and answer questions about the training is that all of you spread the word. It seems like a very insignificant thing, a small school, a small one training course, an international course, but it's the beginning of a social change. It's a way of looking at children in a different way. It's a very big deal. It's a very, very big deal. It's something I can't quite express, in words. It's like some big social change, and it's like a wave of understanding of the child. Uh, Something I feel not only Delhi, any big city in India now needs. We need to sit back, think about what is education, think about what are the values we are offering our children. We live in a world where everything is for sale. Certain things are not for sale. Certain things are not to be bought for money. And certain things have to be offered to the children with the time that it deserves, with the values that we have, and the integrity that we have as human beings. And I think that that's what I'd like to share with you, that this spiritual opening in a small school in Noida, in the middle of this. I can't tell you the number of families that live in Noida always stun me. Come over the Jamuna, and it's like, what is this world that we have entered? And so it's like all these human beings who have children, their lives should be affected, their lives should be touched. The lives of children in Delhi should actually, they should have a better start, a more understanding environment, more sensitive adults who get them. And so that's the reason why we are here. And we're very delighted that this will happen over the 3 summers that we have committed to work together. And I'd really like to acknowledge Niti and Nishant for the effort that they have put in to make this happen. And of course, our own commitment from Chennai, we promise to help everybody who decides to take the training. However far away it sounds, 2008, we'd like to really assure you that with all the rigors of the course, we are here to support you through it and to help people who take up the training through this wonderful process of transformation and change.
Can I add a little bit to
Yes,
that?
sure.
Well, let's take from the time about, it sounds a long time. And I think, as you heard, we've done every single diploma possible now. And at the beginning, it sounded, my goodness, 3 summers, 3 summers. I can only tell you, it goes by in a flash. It's just, and it's the most amazing experience. And I think the second thing is, you're all very lucky that it has come to your doorstep. Because for us, we've had to, when we discovered we wanted to do a course, we've had to travel to all parts of the world. We had to go to Denver to do the 0 to 3. We had to go to London to do the 3 to 6 and the 6 to 12. So to do, and we've been to Sweden to do the 12 to 18. So to have an international course come to your doorstep, it's an opportunity in a way not to be missed.
Even if it means traveling from Gurgaon or Jamna
Right.
Par
Not
or
as far
wherever.
as
Yeah, not as
Sweden
far
and
as Sweden.
Denver. So the effort is so worthwhile. I can't, I mean, I had another career before this. I was in advertising. And when I discovered Montessori, it just changed my world. You know, life has never been the same. And I'm still at it after 40 years. So it'd be lovely if, to share with, as Ruku said, to share it with other people so they don't miss that opportunity. Don't miss the moment when it's going to take place on their doorstep.
Yeah. Happy to
Right.
take questions, and all practical, all questions, anything that you all would like to know about. Happy to take it.
All the worries.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So before we start taking the questions, I think Neeti would like to join us to add something to it, and then we'll open it for the questions. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you, Anshul. It was just it's every time I hear Ruku and Ruby speak about Montessori, in any format, it's just I feel like I always take away something new. Even though I have heard them talk so many times, every time I hear this something to add on to my existing understanding of Montessori. I go deeper, I go wider. I'm like, oh, I never thought of it this way. So I speak as a co-founder at Sketches and as a parent. That's how my journey began in Montessori. And as somebody who has completed the 12 to 18 diploma, AMI diploma, and I had to travel, and I cannot express how grateful I am that I could get this opportunity after so many years after opening this school to actually travel to another part of the country, leave the school behind. Thanks to all wonderful team members that we have here. Thanks to my husband. Thanks to my daughter and my in-laws and my family. It's a beautiful experience. I mean, you reinvent yourself. You look at life in a totally different way. You enjoy it much more deeply. You stop looking at things in a superficial way. Everything, and it's not just about children. Of course, children are a starting point of everything that we're doing. It's about the child within. It's about this whole universe, the cosmos. What is the meaning of what is the meaning of meaning itself? So if you think of all these things and these things excite you, that's been my journey, and I cannot think of doing anything else. And I would, this is my aspiration, to complete all four diplomas at some point in life, and to work with children of all age groups, and to have meaningful connections with a larger community. And I forcibly brought my brother and my sister-in-law here. I've told them, please do this as a favor to me. It's a gift for me for next 10 years. You don't have to give me any gift. You just come here, because even if they are family, you can talk about it in a certain way, but they do have to listen it from somebody else, I feel. So they have a beautiful son, and yeah, it's something to, it's very worth spending your time, your energy, your money, whatever it is. And the whole community benefits. My daughter changed in ways. She had a wonderful experience at home. We used to talk on the phone like we never talk in front of each other, in person. So yeah, I think I'm still discovering where it will take me, and what I will experience. And I hope that many of you, whoever can make it possible, take this opportunity, because as they said, it's a wonderful opportunity that you mustn't miss. And I'm the first student in the course, so waiting for my batch.
So I'll take 2 more minutes to just share what Ruku said about Delhi as a region and what we all need to collectively do as a community. And I've been an engineer before I turned my journey towards education, and I've always wondered why something which is so obvious, in terms of how education should be like, has taken so much effort to bring into practice. And I think that was the frustration with which I began this work, in a way that if we can create such environments for children, we can, as educators, as parents, become better. Why doesn't the system let us do that? So we started to see if we could offer something in Noida, and would we even find other parents who think like us and would want their children to receive a different way of learning. And here we are after 9 years, and I'm glad to see that there are so many families who have joined this journey with us. Their children have been with us for many years, 7-8 years now, and they've gone through the CASA years, 3 to 6 environments, 6 to 12 environments, and some of them are even asking us and are ready for us to take the children into the adolescent program as well. We're still working out the details of the same, but I think what that tells me is that if you start with a good thought and intention, it finds its way. Like, we have almost done this against impossible odds, because there are hardly any educators here in this area. So, but I think we kept at it, and that brought us here. But I wanted to emphasize it is because finally, for people like Ruku, and she already took Shirley Auntie's example, they have so much to offer. There is a lot of learning. There is a lot of experience, but the people uh, who are going to receive it have to be ready. So it's a guru who is looking for shishya, right? Guru has what to offer, but the shishya has to be ready. And for Delhi and for this region, I think that point hopefully should come that can we can receive this training, we can receive this knowledge, and then take it further. There can be more environments for children which are offering this education, and that's the overall goal, because Montessori education has existed in Chennai, in Mumbai, in Hyderabad, uh, Mumbai, Hyderabad, even I think Ahmedabad has had a bigger movement, because there have been people in these cities which have taken the movement ahead, and we need more such people in this region. So I hope with this effort that we are starting now, we can start on that journey. And it has taken almost 6 years now to bring this to life after multiple conversations, and pandemic happened in between. So we can move forward. I think we've had so many discussions with Shirley Auntie also, and I'm so thankful for all the support, and all of you are here today. So I think that shows that we want to do this together. And
Yeah.
with the next steps now rolling out, I think we'll provide more information about how the course will happen, what will be the logistics and everything. One more thing that Ruku and Ruby have offered is that we could look at some parents and some other people who cannot sign up for the full diploma to attend lectures in the first module for 2 weeks. But that's
And that is with the hope that you all will taste it, and then we can twist your arms to complete the training. So that is
Giving
only
it, no, giving the secret
okay,
away.
it's okay to give it away. That we will be talking to you too.
so that's it. And
So do the. I mean, it's very nice that we talk about um, this. We talk about Montessori as a social movement. That it's really about people who buy into these values for children. That we don't tie up all our hopes and aspirations in the child as adult imposed on the children, but we allow the children to grow and to really taste and understand, discover the world, and to create solutions in a world that richly needs saving now. So I think that that is really the aim of this, that it should reach more children and that it should create more sensitive adults. I think you had a question.
So actually, I'm currently working. So I just wanted to know the structure, how the course will be placed if I leave my job, like full time work, or I can do it part time. So if you can provide some.
The course is planned over 3 summers. So 2026, 27, 28 for 6 weeks during the holidays. So from May 18th to June 28th or thereabouts, 6 weeks from the second last week of May, and that will be all the 3 years. So it's 3 summers, only 3 summers. And then there are no the rest of the month. We hope that you will finish all the pending work during the summer, so that you all are not leaving it for an entire year and have forgotten what was done in the last summer and are trying to do it in the next summer. So we will support you to complete whatever work that you have during that summer in that summer. But there is what we call school teaching practice and observation that goes on for 6 weeks. So you have some flexibility about doing it, but the best time for you to do it is July. So when the schools in Delhi open, which is really Nishant School and Magic Years, where there are AMI trained teachers in the classroom, in such classrooms you can take the practicum. So you'll need to spend another 6 weeks outside of the summer. But if you are working, we can try to organize it flexibly. However, it still has to be done when schools are open. It can't be done in holidays. You have to interact with the children for 6 weeks to do observation
that
and
you have to
teaching
take that
practice.
time off.
You'll have to take that time off.
Schools are working till 21st of February. Mostly the schools are open.
I think that also you all will because we need 6 weeks. If we push it to the following week and then we move into July, that will also be difficult. We need 6 weeks. We cannot deliver the course in less than 18 weeks.
That's really
It's
nice.
actually a 1 year, 24. Usually it's 24 weeks during the year, which includes practicum. So we've broken that into 6 weeks, 6 weeks, 6 weeks. What is a cover up?
We would suggest you try and get cover in your cover in your school.
Try to plan and take
Oh.
leave and be here for the first weeks so that you don't miss anything. I'm going to tell you a little bit about attendance, right? This is the draconic and the dragonic aspect of Montessori courses, right? That we require. They say that 90% attendance is a requirement, but we recommend 100%, right? So that is what we always say. And we recommend punctuality. We recommend, we are it's like the strictest of the strict. But the question is, why is this necessary? It's necessary because during when I took my training, I missed 2 days of class. And at the end of that course, what I missed in those 2 days, I would say till today, is a bit of a hole in my mind. The course is very personal, and it's not, I mean, because today we talk about videos and why can't we watch a presentation on a video and why can't we understand how to do it. It's because it's not about how we move things on the table from place to place, not about that. It's about how I am in my being when I'm interacting with this child, pretend child who's there with me, a pretend situation that we are in. And it's very, I can't tell you, it's very real and it's very experienced. If you when I read VK Ramachandran, I was thinking of our own demonstrations that we do. VK Ramachandran wrote a book called The Telltale Brain, in which he talks about these mirror neurons. So if I am drinking tea, you're also actually drinking tea. Because you're watching me drink tea, every single neuron is firing for you, as is firing for me when I'm drinking tea, except the taste buds. So the only difference between you and me is that you're not getting sensory feedback, but you're doing what I'm doing, right? So that demonstration, closeness, the way you watch it is not the same way that your friend watches it. And you hear two people after one demonstration saying, she put it on the left. No, no. Where did she put it? No, was it under the table? One actually said it's under the table. It was not under the table. It was on the left. So these are the kinds of conversations that go on. And in sorting that out in your mind for yourself through your own experience, within a couple of hours, you have the demonstration, you eat your lunch, you talk a little, you come together, you start practicing. Then yes, all of you who did the course, yes, so that in those conversations over lunch, and you get something that I can't explain. Yeah, it's something that I can't explain. Even Ruby and I, we are such good friends, we've done all the courses together, but not even one paragraph in her notes will be like mine. So it's like, what did you write? I never wrote that, I never got that. So when we discussed, we grew our understanding, or we argued and we went for clarification. And so all of those things meant that when you have to write a Montessori exam, you are not writing it by rote learning. You don't have to learn anything. Because if somebody shakes us awake at night and asks us what is the characteristics of the first plane child, I'll be able to tell you, because we've understood it, we've experienced it, we've worked with the children, we've done presented materials to the children, we've seen their reaction. So we hold it. So you hold it in such a way that when you go to a classroom where you are new, you will still find challenges, but you'll be able to do it. You'll be able to set up the environment and you'll be able to deal with children. So it's very experiential, and it's not through learning theory. I mean, I sometimes think, if somebody had told me that algebra and geometry were interrelated, I would have been so. I mean, no one told me that. I thought it was so weird that people added A and B and got an answer. I had no idea what a variable was. And I was a stupid student. But there is no connection between what you study in the classroom and anything practical or real in the schooling that I had, right? So that is never the case in a Montessori course. So that's why the rules of attendance are so strict, because if you are there, you get it. If you are not there, then you keep on asking your friends, what did they do, what did they do, and they try to tell you, but you're never satisfied. I've not met a single student who was absent who asked her friend to tell her what happened, that they were satisfied. They'll come and tell you, she's saying this, is that how you did it? But they won't believe it in its totality, because she just got it. No. So what will she tell you? She can only tell you what she understood from that moment. So that is why that attendance is so important. However, I want to tell you that though these are requirements, these requirements are not time bound. So we could not, one year we were running a conference and we could not actually finish some of our work. So we did the exam, didn't get the diploma, then we completed our work and then submitted our work, and then we got the diploma. So it's not as though because you don't finish something, or you didn't get leave, or you were sick, or you were, you had jaundice or whatever it is, that you will not be able to complete the diploma. We had a student literally who got jaundice running up to the exam, but she couldn't take the exam, but we helped her. She went back home, she came back, she took exams, and she got a diploma. So each person's story, and that too, talking about 2028. Now it seems very far away. So we don't know what will happen by then. So whatever happens, the training team at Supraja is here to support you. Each one individually, not as a blanket.
But
We will help you, whoever you are, but in whatever form you need help.
if possible.
Yeah, but I mean, it
But
is always
missing
possible.
A missing week's lectures are not possible. Not if you miss your 90%, it may not be possible. It may be possible to attend one or
Yeah.
two.
If
at
it's
a cen-
89%, we can help you make up right there, right then. If you've got only 60% attendance, hoga hi nahi. You'll have to get those lectures somehow. We'll have to organize that. And then, as we can manage to help you get those lectures, you'll finish and complete whatever you need to complete to get. So, we will never leave you in the lurch. We will always support our students to get to the end, and we would like, and we even tell them, even though you haven't completed, go and work in schools, be available to the community, so that it is easier for you to complete, because you're still in touch with everything that you're
She
supposed to
said
do.
she can't start the first week. That's the problem.
Yeah, we can have a conversation about the first week. If it's the first week only, we can definitely talk about
Of the first module, not the first week of every module.
Every year the calendar will have its own tweak.
Yeah, 3 weeks out of 18 weeks will be too much for you to miss. So we can help you to see what you'll miss and how you can.
And whether you can help adjust on the other end.
My advice to everybody at Sketches, I'm extending the
Yes.
same advice to everyone.
Magic years. too.
Don't think about up the top of the mountain 2028. Just look at the next step. The website is up, apply, hold your nose and jump in. And then whatever comes along, we'll sort it out as we go along. And I'm including Pragati, I'm including all the people who are, have been interested not for now, but forever. So
They've
all
been
of you
waiting
who have
for it
been
for so long
looking
now.
for it for so long, find a, what do you call it, taxi together, and decide that, find a nice taxi man and tell him that every day we are going to Noida.
Or find a flat down here somewhere.
Yeah. And there are children, and there are holidays, and there's family, and I know all that. Yeah, for the people who take the course over summers, it's one kind of sacrifice. The people who take the course over the annual calendar year, it's a different kind of sacrifice. But the people who take the course, the central word is sacrifice. So the sacrifices, but
It's
pay
worth
off.
it.
Yeah, pay off.
Nisha,
If I may say so,
Yeah. Yes, of course, Nisha.
If you take the course in the city where you are, nothing like it. I went to Chennai and I was going from the north to the south for the first time
those were other challenges that I had to face. Accommodation, language, getting adjusted to the place.
The
And I
heat.
went to do the course when I was in 40s, and I had students around me 20, 25 years old. You know? That was another challenge I had. So it's doing the course in the city where you are, and 6 weeks is as
Nothing.
they are my trainers. So 6 weeks is nothing. We did a 9 months, and the kind of challenges some of us, because we were going after teaching in a school and not being into the education like that, and then to go and listen to it. Sometimes some lectures I used to come out and I used to say, what did I hear? What do I write? I couldn't even write a page sometimes. So it's like I'm getting old now.
Any questions from those who are online?
No, they kind of. I think there are only two left. There's some dropped. Anybody there? We can hear you if you unmute. The people online, you can unmute and ask any questions.
I hope they heard everything because this is the first time we have
Yeah,
done
not
it
to
this
worry.
way. So it was audible. Okay, excellent. Now we have a solution for this. I can tell you both the things.
Yes?
Yeah.
So, ma'am, my niece goes to the school, and when we were talking about a lot of values and we did examples of why we organize something. So today, a lot of those things clicked for me, and I think the reason I'm here is because I've seen her as an individual, like she's just 4.5, but I see so many things in her which are just so different and
Yeah.
so beautiful, and I could connect it to how you were talking right now, and so that's one thing. But my question is, why is this course, the one that we started now, why is it designed in such a way to be over 3 summers, and what could be the benefit of doing it all at once compared to this one? I probably wanted to be on a faster track. Like I can afford to get full time to this course, but right now the one that is available is just over 3 summers.
Yeah.
So what would be
There are great advantages to both. If you do it as an academic year course, you will do your teaching practice and your observation at equal intervals between the theory and the practice. So you'll hear a little theory, you'll practice with a few materials, and then you'll get a chance to be with children. And then it will intermittently work.
Scheduled by us.
Sorry?
Scheduled by us.
Yeah,
It'll be
the
scheduled.
teaching practice will be scheduled by us. The advantage for a summer course is for a working person who cannot give up their job, who cannot take a year off for anything. And the advantage for anybody who's working already with children and wants to do it this way is that every summer is designed for you to go back to the class the following week and implement what you've learned in the first summer. So many teachers who started with us on a summer course and were not working in a Montessori class, they started their Montessori class after the first summer, using only what they had learned in the first summer. So in the second summer, what they learned, they implemented the second year. So after they finished the second summer. So by the time they did exams in the third summer, the class was well underway. They didn't have to wait for the 3 years to be over
It's
to
2
work.
years.
Yeah, it's 2 years.
It's only 2 years. We
It's
mustn't
2
keep
years.
saying 3 years because it's only summer to summer with the 2 years. Yeah.
So if you think about it like that, within those 2 years, a Montessori class can get started. You can start working with children. So that's its advantage.
What's your niece's name?
Inaya.
Inaya, yeah, that's what I was thinking. You have resemblance to her, so you might have seen
You can
her
come to
yesterday.
Chennai to do the whole year course.
Yeah, exactly. You can go to another city to do the full-time course. The Chennai course starts in August and ends in April. You're most welcome. There are hostels nearby. We can guide you. There's no issue. But as Nisha said, it's language and the rest of it and learning.
Nisha Aunty and I, we wanted the summer model because we want people who are working with us to be able to do it. So, and in the world of AI, you can start.
I speak English though, most of the time.
Ruby also manages, so anyone will manage now in Chennai. That's my thing.
So my daughter is 3.5 and I just got her an admission in this school. And I'm definitely planning to take the course.
Oh, good.
So nobody around in my knowledge follows Montessori or knew what Montessori was. It took me 2 years to actually reach here. So the first question that pops up is how after she's 6, what do you do? And after she's 12, what do you do? How does she go out in the world and compete in this academic culture? How does she give exams when she has to apply for colleges?
We will all do that.
For me, the marks or academies, I knew she'll catch up because I haven't taught her anything academic and she's still got up. But I don't have answers to those.
We have answers. The first question is, what is academics? What do you mean by academics? And then when you come and look at what is offered in Montessori, it covers all those areas, but we don't call it academics. We call it life skills in a way. So as Ruku was saying, we are equipping our children in a way to cope with life better, to be able to think, judge, make better judgments, make better choices, and to be committed. What we help in the Montessori environment is when they make choices to be committed, to persevere, to finish what they start. So if you listen to all those characteristics, will that not be actually serve them in better stead than learning facts? And facts, children learn. Children, they don't need to make any effort to learn what they're interested in. So in Montessori, which luckily in Sketches will take them up to 12 and if not 18 in the future, you have it all on your doorstep. And
What?
you know,
What Montessori parents and Montessori teachers need is courage.
yeah,
Courage of their own convictions. And I hope the course will give us that. That, that feeling that we have, that the children need a good kind of education. They need a gentle, sensitive education. That we all feel that. But to have the courage to say that in the face of everyone swimming in the opposite direction, it's hard. So if you have that courage and you're able to say it, and say it in a way that you don't have to agree with me, but I believe so. I think that itself is a huge part of taking the training. So you need courage to stand up with
the
this.
training will help you to understand more.
Yeah.
And the 3 to 6 will start off by, in a way, looking at the whole 24 years of development that Montessori talks about. So you'll get the insight into the whole child. We look at the adult first. We look at the human being and what we need to live life. And then we just come down towards exactly what is specific.
You open the huge band and then you look only at the 3 to 6 years.
Unfortunately, these answers don't satisfy us. I'm not looking to justify to them, but this is the reality. These answers.
I spend every meal time I'm boring my friends trying to explain what Montessori is. Once you start, that is going to be the story of your life. But it's something that you want to do because you feel so kind of, you want people to understand. As Rupu said, to save the child. And the worst thing is to sit on your hands when you watch adults mistreating children or not helping children or putting
But
obstacles.
also, the world, Nishant is the corporate guy, not me, but the idea, I've never been in any corporate situation, but I'm saying what I'm hearing, the buzzwords you hear now from the corporate world, it's no longer competition. People talk about collaboration, team building, what they take off their executives to some place and they teach them to live together. And it's like, it's like, what all the things that we really neglected to help them to be, polite to each other, where, present yourself well to, basic things we have to train executives. I think it's a bit much. I remember a friend of mine who worked in World Bank read one essay by Montessori and said, "Oh my God, this sounds like a management manual." No freedom, give them freedom, give them responsibility, give them a sense of the whole picture of what this company is actually trying to achieve, and then ask them to buy into that larger picture rather than just do a job for its incentives. A fabulous book called Punished by Rewards,
Oh, yes.
which is it's an absolutely brilliant book, in which he says the American workforce is ruined by incentives. So I mean, now people are not talking so much about competition.
If you actually
And the,
study Japanese management philosophy, you will find a lot of these threads that connect to human nature and
Yeah.
inner self way more important than any of these other metrics. So when
Yeah.
I started studying management and Japanese management system has this concept of Muda movie, got lots of Japanese terms now, and one of the key principles I was sharing in the morning today is a place for everything and everything in its place. So you will see these things in big car manufacturing places and
ISO
industrial
you need for that.
environments. Yeah, yeah.
ISO, right? ISO, what is it? Quality assurance and all that. But
That's what we
that's
tell
what
the
basic.
2-year-olds, no? That's what we tell the
Basic.
2-year-olds.
We
no?
take
Yeah.
it out, we
Everything
put
and
it back.
everything has its place.
So it's like,
First rule of living
Yeah.
together.
But the academic part, so I think our assumption somewhere it is that children will not acquire the necessary knowledge
Yeah.
that is needed to excel in physics, excel in chemistry, maths, etc. But that is not true, because for anybody who has been through the rigor of the academic system, and you have Asher sitting beside you has been to an IIT, so am I. So we have seen that world also, and he has done the 0 to 3 diploma, by the way. So you can see many people changing direction and understanding the importance of these values and why they are important in our world today. So it doesn't. I don't think this education under prepares the children to be in the real world, because this is the real world.
Yeah.
Where we are sending our children to right now is a simulated artificial world, which does not make any sense.
Because maximum people I've met who did well in school or scored well are probably struggling with problem solving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
If I can add something, recently, I visited some schools as well nearby, big ones, fancy ones, right?
Yeah, lots of those around.
Right? So, like especially the 3 to 6 years, right? Like the early years, there isn't really much there. It's just a room with some like table, not with this the
Table,
the
chalkies.
stool, and like 10 puzzles for them to do together, 10 starting for them to do together, or something like that. There isn't really like the richness that there is in Montessori classroom in the best of, let's say, supposedly the best of the schools in Noida. So yeah,
You
I think it's
take-
simple living, high thinking, no? I mean,
Yeah.
this is-
Actually, Ramya, who's was on Zoom a little while ago, Ramya studies she's got a psychology background, and she always says, this idea of what is needed now is, people talk about this emotional quotient and the connect that you need to live a good life, to be a good employee, to be. It's like natural in the children will. It's just that's what children do in a 3 to 6 or a 0 to 3 class. Gravitate towards each other to help one another, to live. Delay gratification. All these things are natural in our class. And it's,
I think because we talk so much of the spiritual, the big picture of social development, all the things on the shelf that we have help the child to develop something. So that's why when you do the course, you'll be so reassured that there's a lot more in this environment than you'll find anywhere else in the world.
I did the 6 to 12 course to heal myself.
Yeah,
I
it was like
really
going
did
back
it.
to school again.
Both of us, we did it just to heal ourselves.
We learned so much.
We learned so much basic school work that we should have known in school and been able to hold. So much geography, so much about the seasons, so much about the hemispheres, which we should have known. I don't think that
We
should,
learned more in the
it
6 to 12 course than we ever did in school.
it was good for us. I never worked with 6 to 12 children, but for me, it was just for my own soul. And yeah, so.
like a lot of people say that they'll understand mathematics for the first time when they do this course.
Absolutely.
Because
I remember when I saw the Golden Beads work and Zarina Aunty presented it, my mind was blown. Nobody you get 10 and you move it to the next category. I mean, it was just clear as daylight and so simple, and the children can manage it on their own, and it's
See, we don't talk about the maths and the language and all that specifically because that's the thing that most people focus on. It's there in the environment, but we want people to realize that actually it's much more of a social movement.
it's
But
also
but it doesn't neglect the maths and the
yeah.
language.
Also, it's social, and what she's saying, no, the mathematic activity of what, let's say, addition. It's like you have movement. The children talk about it. You brought 3,852. You brought 2,152. We put it all together, and we added it, and this is how much we got. That clarity and that ability to say what I've done, what is the process, that is mind blowing when you look at the children doing it in terms of not only while we learnt it, but even to watch children. So you're not neglecting movement, you're not neglecting language, you're not neglecting their social life. They can talk to one another, they can speak together, they move around.
You learn-
Everything is, to the hand. It's not just a theoretical principle to work
It's not
out from the board.
abstract. It's
There's
very
nothing to
physical.
copy, but I've worked at it. It's just, I mean, it's some of it is genius. I mean, you have to say, that somebody who devised all these ways of approaching pedagogy, she must have been, I mean, like, one wonders, one amazing. Sometimes when I look at or present something, I think, oh God, who thought of deconstructing such a complex idea like this?
By the age of 6.
Yeah.
These are experiences for children up to 6. So you can imagine between 6 and 12 how much more they're getting.
And that preparation that they get, you see that going into elementary also, no? Once you've seen area material with the 3 to 6, just sensorially putting it together, when you move into the elementary years, I remember they would say, so what can we say about these triangles? So I was thinking, if two children came from another school, all that they would be able to say is these are yellow. But actually we are expecting them to say that look, these two bases are the same, and these two sides are the same,
And these are right angles.
and these are right angle scalene triangles, and this one is an obtuse angle triangle, and we put them together, what we can make a larger hexagon or whatever it is. So it's like a amazing ability to verbalize what they know, in a way which they've gathered just because they've been exposed to it. So I think it's quite a genius. I mean, all the academic work is inbuilt, but I
don't
want to
use
say
the
true.
word. Yeah.
It's true. It's within. It's lovely. Yes.
It's not just with the orientation. She did orientation with Deepa at FPR.
Yeah.
She's a parent with our school.
Yeah.
So I want to add that experience of a spiritual. First time I worked with that golden bee, I felt something inside.
Yeah.
Inside something is moving. Like we are so much burdened on our minds that this is the data. I felt that, oh my God, there's something moving inside. And I'm actually,
Yeah.
enjoying living in maths. I felt
Yeah.
Yeah.
but it's like it's always in academic, you're not living.
Yeah.
Your mind is only involved. But here the mind and body connection is with the course. And the support system I have seen. I mean, who have done it, you just said it, they might not understand. But I know the support system. My God, if I am putting 0.2 effort, you're putting 18, to complete, to help us complete the course. I have seen that.
बहुत मजा आता है. Actually, some of the stuff is, I have an English background and I'm not really a math background at all. And when I looked at the reading analysis, that is like a small summary of our linguistics course that I did in my master's. You take the sentence and you analyze it into a tree diagram, and you can actually look at the adjectival phrases which construct anything, and understand the importance of a subject verb object sequence. It's, I mean, I don't know, was she a mathematician, was she a linguist, was she a, how did these things get put together in such a wonderful way? So it's, the academic work is really in a way quite simple, but what it's lovely about the Montessori work is it sits on top of the development of character. So because they're able to hold it, I think that's what, that strength of character is what helps it through.
And I shared with you this interesting bit of history today when we were having our team meeting about this Leela Seth. She was one of the first women in India to become a High Court judge. And she did a Montessori diploma in Europe, must have been an AMI course in the 1940s or so. And then she went on to, of course, become the US and had a really impeccable career there. And she is the mother of Vikram Seth. Right? So, an interesting thing for us to talk about today that she had a Montessori diploma as well. And she used to live in Noida.
See?
Passed away. She passed away now.
I know.
It was
She passed away in 2017.
2017.
Yeah.
And in sector 44, no, this area has a lot of lawyers.
Nishan is okay.
Exactly. So that you understand what they need.
Yeah.
So that you understand what they need. The school which they go to is one thing. It's in some ways it's neither here nor there. But what we can offer them at home, if we understand them, and we know that, even if you help them to become independent, even if you give them a multiple exposure to the different things you'll become aware of in the course, and if you become aware of their nature, which will change at different points as they grow, even that will help you so much to have a better relationship with your children, and therefore a better family life at home. You can change family life. Yeah. Yes. And what is choice? What is the freedom that you can give them? What is the independence that they require? What are the rules and boundaries that they need? All of that. 5 days a week. 8:45 to 4:15.
Full day.
With an hour for lunch.
Yes, yes, we will.
We can see, we can talk, what we'll do with teaching practice is speak to each one of you individually and map it to the best for you.
It's a very silly question. What if this is out a complete module, like the starting module, then it's kind of difficult to catch up?
Yeah, it will be difficult to catch up if you miss 6 weeks, but you'll have to do those 6 weeks maybe in Chennai, and then come back to do the second and the third weeks here. So we can work it out, Pragati, if that's what you want.
Already booked my tickets to go and visit my daughter.
I can understand.
This came in later. She's just not agreeing to me canceling the tickets out, and like I don't want to.
Shall we talk a little bit and see what we can.
Maybe work something out.
Yeah, Pragati, we see Pragati in all our workshops as a small rectangle at the corner, always nodding away. So all of them I've met like that on Zoom over various workshops. So it's lovely to see everybody in person. And yes.
So I was completely convinced about this course even before you decided. Because I was, the last 2 years, I was searching for a Montessori course in Delhi, and I just found out nothing in North India. So two things, like of course you think, oh, why am I going to do this course and benefit and all of that. So by the time my son turns 3, the 2 summers will have passed. So I know as a parent it will definitely help me. So that's a reason to do it anyway. But as a career, I wanted to
Come join us.
Job offer. There is one thing, there's a huge shortage of Montessori teachers around the world.
Everywhere.
There are more calls for teachers than
The
there are
training,
teachers.
the training center gets more calls for people to become teachers than we get calls for students to do the course. So the career, if for I mean, what I want to say is that, you know, yes, you must, having taken the training, it's lovely if you go and work in a 3 to 6 classroom with children. But people who have done this course have done such a variety of things. Some of them have built school buildings. They're architects. I know an young architect who just did our course, who's into sensitive and architecture. There's a person who's for journalism. It's looking at journalism in terms of, so it's not, and both in terms of serving and volunteering as well as actual jobs. There's several of our colleagues have worked for Teach for India in a much broader social context. Some people have gone on to study sociology. So there are many different paths to explore beyond the training. Uh, Parenting, a career in Montessori, which I think, because we have a dearth of teachers, it's good to think about that. But even otherwise, there are many things that you can do with this knowledge. Child understanding development. So to the idea of what all psychologists will gain from this. All child development and human development angles are
It helps you to understand other adults as well, not just children.
developmental psychology is part of it.
I think just for people check on time, we can break for coffee and then continue the conversation.
I am here, so you are welcome to continue to ask questions, but there is coffee. So please, those of you who need to drink coffee and to leave, please do that. But please be in touch. And also, we are starting on 18th of May, and the website, the registrations are open. I think so. I think
Anushree and
yesterday
Divya,
they
no,
went up.
they can connect with her. She's
Anushri and Divya are also going to do the course. I mean, we are twisting their arm. We are twisting the arm of everybody in the room.
Did she say?
by the time you leave, she'll be 100%.
And just because we have student number 1, we also are looking for student number 2.
Number two.
So
And hopefully
please
number
do keep in touch, and whatever the issues are, please do share with them, and we can connect on Zoom, we can talk again, and we can make a plan. Pragati, even if we don't get a chance today and you can't solve all the things today, you can continue to talk to us on Zoom, and